Okanagan, or Colville-Okanagan, is a Salish language which arose among the indigenous peoples of the southern Interior Plateau region based primarily in the Okanagan River Basin, and the Columbia River Basin in pre-colonial times in Canada and the United States, following British, American, and Canadian colonization during the 1800s and the subsequent repression of all Salishan languages. The use of Colville-Okanagan declined drastically. Colville-Okanagan is highly endangered and is rarely learned as either a first or second language. There are about 150 deeply fluent speakers of Colville-Okanagan Salish, the majority of whom live in British Columbia. The language is currently moribund and has no deeply fluent speakers younger than 50 years of age. Colville-Okanagan is the second most spoken Salish language after Shuswap. History and description. Historically, Colville-Okanagan originated from a language which was spoken in the Columbia River Basin and is now termed Proto-Southern Interior Salish. As a result of the initial expansion of Colville-Okanagan prior to European contact, the language developed three separate dialects: Colville-Okanagan and Lakes. There is a low degree of dialectic divergence in terms of vocabulary and grammar. Variation is primarily confined to pronunciation. The vast majority of Colville-Okanagan words are from Proto-Salish or Proto-Interior Salish. A number of Colville-Okanagan words are shared with or borrowed from the neighboring Salish, Sahaptian, and Kootenai languages. More recent word borrowings are from English and French. Colville-Okanagan was an exclusively oral form of communication until the late 19th century, when priests and linguists began transcribing the language for word lists, dictionaries, grammars, and translations. Colville-Okanagan is currently written in Latin script using the American phonetic alphabet. In Colville-Okanagan, the language itself is known as Enzilksan or Nsyilxcn. Speakers of Enzilksan occupied the northern portion of the Columbia Basin from the Methow River in the west to Kootenai Lake in the east, and north along the Columbia River and the Arrow Lakes. In Colville-Okanagan, all Nsyilxcn-speaking bands are grouped under the ethnic label Syilx. Colville-Okanagan is the heritage language of the Lower Similkameen Indian Band, the Upper Similkameen Indian Band, the West Bank First Nation, the Ossouse Indian Band, the Penticton Indian Band, the Okanagan Indian Band, the Upper Nicola Indian Band, and the Colville-Okanagan, Lakes, Nespelem and Methow bands of the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation. Revitalization. In 2012, the CBC featured a report on a family which is teaching its children Nsyilxcen in the home. 4 non-profit organizations which support Colville-Okanagan language acquisition and revitalization of the Paul Creek Language Association in Corremios, British Columbia, the Enokan Center in Penticton, British Columbia, the Waterfalls Immersion School in Omick, Washington, as well as the Salish School of Spokane in Spokane, Washington. Revitalization in the United States. Revitalization efforts for Colville-Okanagan in the United States are limited largely to children instruction. However, there are concentrated efforts on the part of the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation to promote language preservation. Among the activities the Confederation takes part in are allocating funds both local and federal for cultural preservation projects. The Confederated Tribes' goals are to establish 3 language programs, develop language dictionaries, provide translation services and curriculum, as well as establish language classes with a regular attendance of 30 or more people. Though the Confederation's efforts are laudable, the limitations of 150 truly native speakers are evident. Language revitalization on the scale the Confederation proposes this is limited by the number of native speakers available for those projects. Despite the Confederation's efforts, language revitalization cannot be reproduced on such a large scale in the short run. The Salish School of Spokane in the state of Washington takes a smaller approach towards revitalization. This school caters to the Colville-Okanagan speaking population in the tribal regions of northeastern Washington. This school's efforts fall under the category of full immersion school. The Salish school's target demographic is children between the ages of 1 to 8 years old. This places the Salish School of Spokane in the Children Revitalization group of schools. The school's programs are designed to spur full native fluency in Okanagan before the age of 10. The school does this by offering classes in Okanagan from 9 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. According to school expectations and curriculum, children are expected to speak Okanagan for the duration of the time in school. In addition, the Salish School of Spokane is committed to an active learning strategy. That is, children are taught common nursery rhythms that engage the learner's body. The Salish School of Spokane makes a point of not falling into the trap of monopolizing teaching resources. Unlike Walsh's examples of tribes opting to not share materials, the Salish School maintains a variety of audio resources and curriculum to advance Okanagan revitalization. Along with these efforts, the Salish School of Spokane not only provides curriculum but helps develop and translate it. The Salish School works alongside organizations such as the Paul Creek Language Association, a non-profit based in British Columbia, on the Enzolkson Curriculum Project. The Enzolkson project aims to create foundational lesson plans from which teachers of Okanagan can draw from. The project is spearheaded by Christopher Parkin and is translated primarily by the fluent elder Sarah Peterson, with the additional help of Hazel Abrahamson and Herman Edwards. The participation of native speakers ensures clear meaning and high fidelity to the Okanagan language. The project is composed of 6 textbooks that are divided into 3 levels. Each level consists of a language book which contains a number of audio recordings, language and learning software to ease language teaching. Additionally, each level includes a literature book. The literature book provides the vital function of providing entertainment for language learners when outside of class and also reinforces sentence construction for Okanagan. Most importantly, the curriculum developed by the Enzolkson Curriculum Project is available in electronic format online free of charge. Revitalization in Canada. To encourage interest in teaching vocations, the Okanagan places a strong emphasis on its various certification programs. The Certificate of Aboriginal Language Revitalization is offered in the Okanagan Centre and is taught by linguist Maxine Baptiste. The course does have a fee involved, but the certificate is offered in partnership with the University of Victoria. Additionally, the Centre also offers a certification to become a Certified Early Childhood Education Assistant, which is in partnership with Nicola Valley Institute of Technology. The certificate does not qualify one to teach at the secondary level, but does ensure employability in daycare and pre-K. The strategy behind these 2 certificates ensures that potential teachers have easy access to college credits from centers of higher learning like the University of Victoria, and potential education assistants can be involved in the education of children, thus establishing fluency in Okanagan early on. Finally, the Okanagan Centre places a heavy emphasis on its college readiness programs. The importance of these programs lies not only in setting up native students for success, but also incorporating Colville-Okanagan courses into a curriculum for young adult to adult students. William Cohen notes in his article that many native students perform poorly in school and the high school dropout rate for Aboriginal marginal high schoolers is very high. Orthography, Phonology, Consonants. Consonant inventory of Okanagan. Okanagan is also reported to contain the rare uvular flap vowels. The vowels found in Lakeside and E is the single unstressed variant of the full vowels in Okanagan, while the vowel is found only in borrowed words. Stress will fall only on the full vowels, and in Okanagan. Morphology. The morphology of Okanagan is fairly complex. It is a head-marking language that relies mostly on grammatical information being placed directly on the predicate by means of affixes and clitics. The combination of derivational and inflectional suffixes and prefixes that are added onto the stem words make for a compact language. Person markers. Okanagan demonstrates great flexibility when dealing with persons, number, and gender. The language encodes the person via a series of prefixes and suffixes, and uses its number system in tandem with pluralized pronominals to communicate the number of actors within a sentence. For example, tka kalis k kalis, num. Classifier plural, redup 3. There are 3 people. In this example, the K classification designates that the word contains a numeral classifier. Additionally, Okanagan relies heavily on the use of suffixes to designate gender. Okanagan handles gender in much the same way, by attaching both determiner and man to the sentence. The gender of an object or subject can be communicated Wikani skelt mixu wikeni skelt mixu saw 1 sg det man. I saw the man. In this example, there is a combination of second singular marker with wife. She is encoded into the meaning of the word via the inclusion of the gender suffix at the end of the sentence. Person markers within Okanagan are attached to verbs, nouns, or adjectives. The marker used depending on transitivity of verbs and other conditions outlined below. The person marker used largely depends on the case being used in the sentence. Absolutive case. Absolutive markers within Okanagan can only be used if the predicate of the sentence is intransitive. For example, is perfectly viable in Okanagan, but asterisk is not because the verb count is transitive. Person markers never occur without an accompanying intransitive verb. Possessive case. Simple possessives within Okanagan are predominantly a result of prefixation and circumfix on a verb. However, Okanagan uses simple possessives as aspect forms on the verb in very complex ways. This practice is predominantly seen in southern interior Salish languages. The stem, kill hand, where prefixation occurs within and in the first and second person singular n, may undergo deletion as below. Isxuytn in sxuy tan 1 sg pos nom goinst, they are my tracks. Act millen klt kalmil 2 sg pos to be woman, she is your wife to be. Anakman and nikaman 2 sg pos knife, your knife. Ergative case. In the case of verbs, Okanagan morphology handles transitivity in various ways. The first is a set of rules for verbs that only have a single direct object, transitive verbs. For the ergative case, there are 2 variants of person markers, a stressed and an unstressed. Stressed and unstressed. The stem, cknt, is the equivalent of the transitive verb count. Accusative case. There are 2 sets of verb affixes, each containing 2 members that dictate the composition of a verb. The first set is composed of the affixes nt and lt. The second set is composed of st and xt, where I is a stressed vowel. The major difference between 2 sets is how they incorporate affixes to remain grammatically correct. In the case of the nt-lt group, all particles and suffixes joining onto the stem and suffix of the verb will be identical for both. The nt affix connects to the stem of a transitive verb via suffixation. The suffix nt can only make reference to 2 persons, an actor and a primary goal. Ent in the LT affix is the ditransitive counterpart of NT and works in much the same. The difference between the two is that it refers to three persons, an actor, and two other actors or girls. Furthermore, LT is further differentiated from its ditransitive cousin XT because it does not require a clitic to be a part of the verb. In contrast to this group, SAINT and XT operate by unique rules. The SAINT affix, much like its counterpart, must be added to a verb stem by means of suffixation. It is also transitive, and refers to an actor and a primary goal, but it implies a reference to a third person, or a secondary goal without explicitly stating it. In. The XT ditransitive affix shares all of the features of LT with the sole exception that it requires a clitic to be attached to front of the verb stem. The reason for the clitic in Okanagan is to add emphasis or focus on the second object, whereas LT makes no distinction. Predicates and arguments. Each clause in Okanagan can be divided into two parts: inflected predicates, which are required for every sentence, and optional arguments. Okanagan allows a maximum of 2 arguments per sentence construction. These are marked by pronominal markers on the predicate. Each argument is introduced to the sentence via an initial determiner. The only exception to initial determiners is in the case of proper names, which do not need determiners to introduce them. Predicates may be of any lexical category. There may be additional arguments added to a sentence in Okanagan via complementizers. Okanagan is unique among the majority of Salish languages for the inclusion of the complementizer. Obliques. Okanagan has one oblique marker that adapts it to several different functions depending upon the context in which it is used. The oblique marker T can be used to mark the object of an intransitive verb, as in the case below. Kenil and TSL like UWI ETOBL meet I8 meet T may also mark the agent in a passive construction, and it may be used to mark the ergative agent of transitive verbs. Finally, the oblique T may be used to mark functions including time and instrument. Ken TXAMTSXXCEI COMOBL stick. I combed my hair with a stick. T may also coincide with the determiner I in the case of instrumentals, and passive agents Tiapantis, shoot dir3sg. Ergdetobl gun, he shot it with a gun. Mike Kumkas NTM. Mike kissed dir past etobl woman. Mike was kissed by the woman. Compliments. There are a number of complements available to Okanagan to clarify its predicates. Among these are positional complements, which merely indicate the place of a predicate. In addition to positional complements, there are a variety of marked complements. Complements used in Okanagan that express further meaning through a series of particles. The first of the marked complements is the prefix ye. For the most part, ye is an optional complement that is used in definite cases, with the exception of cases when a proper noun is used. In such cases, the ye prefix is not allowed. When ye is used, it refers to a definite referent. Wican ye squilx. I saw those people. Quote. The sequential complements are composed of the particles l and l. L conveys temporal sequence while l represents a subordinate element. Wajx astel kcxwuj. It's good if that you come. Wajx aslkwcxwuj. It will be good when after you come. Okanagan also contains a number of locational complements which refer to when or where something happened. It is a point of reference. The l and the variant l particles are used to tie a predicate to a time or place. Xwuj lisenquakiak. He went in the night. Ablative complements in Okanagan come in the form of the TL particle, along with directional complements K and KL. Okanagan speakers can indicate motion. The ablative complement TL only serves to indicate moving away from. For instance, in the sentence below, the ablative is drum. KWSCUTXXDLSK were you saying from Seattle? The directional complements two particles represent both direction towards something and direction towards a specific location. K signifies movement towards something. K inside to my house. The KL particle modifies this sentence so that it specifies the house as the location to which the subject must move. KL inside to my house. Classification. Verbs may react in a number of different ways when a suffix is attached to the root stem of the word. Below are a number of ways in which intransitive roots are modified. T can indicate a natural characteristic of the root siak, burn, siaked, burned. Lux indicates the subject is engaged in an activity. QICLX, run. ILS expresses state of mind. NKW, pills, lonely. P expresses lack of a subject's control. KMAP, darkening. Transitives. N involves action upon an object by a subject. KWU, California. NTIS, he hit me. S involve action, a state resulting from an activity. KWUCASTICZUSUT indicates when the action of a subject is directed toward themselves. Tar, cut, kick oneself. Transitive stems without person markings indicate imperatives. NLKIPNT, open it. Intransitives can express an imperative via X suffix. XWUY, go. Space, time, modality. The Okanagan system relies heavily on its suffixes to demonstrate tense, space, and time. Below are demonstrated various suffixes that attach to roots to encode meaning. Of the following two examples, they are only possible in the N-transitive paradigm. K's unrealized action extextam, I'm going to look after him. Sec past perfect, I sec text am, I've been looking after him. The following examples are for intransitives. K and realize expresses an intentional future action, a state. Not SQELT. I'm warm, AX continuative. Action, a state that is in progress, not sputa X. I'm celebrating. Directional prefix is L, movement back, C, movement towards speaker, KL down, and under prepositional case markings for oblique objects DL, from, source, KL to, at, goal, recipient, dative, K for, benefative, L on, locative, NL with commutative, it with by instrumental bibliography.